there's a discussion which starts between Portia, the Duke, Antonio, and all others, where Portia is confirming from Antonio and Shylock as well that I hope you both are acquainted with the reason why you have come over here in the court, and what is the reason for this question that in the court that has arisen. So that was the discussion that was taking place, and then initially when Portia asked in line number 190 that therefore the Jew must be merciful towards Antonio, then Shylock says that what is the compulsion that I should be merciful towards him. Then Portia gives a very long speech on quality of mercy, which is quite very important. And moreover, if you talk about this quality of mercy, in this she has explained that what are the qualities of a merciful person and what are the benefits that are enjoyed by a person who is always reflecting himself to be merciful, or who is always giving justice with a sense of mercy. Now Portia says the quality of mercy is not strain. That means you cannot force anyone to be merciful. It's not something which you can impose on a person that you have to be merciful. Okay, it's something which is, you can say, inborn. It's something which is inbuilt. Okay, it droppeth as gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. Now this quality of mercy, or the quality of mercy, the mercy has been actually in a way said over here that it's such a beautiful, and it has got such a subtle and a lovely impact that it is just like gentle rain dropping from heaven. Dropping from heaven means that heaven has actually been symbolized as something, as a good place. So it's been said over here that this quality of mercy is actually something which drops from heaven. It's just like gentle, drizzling, not harsh rain, not destructing anything or not destroying anything, but it's a very gentle rain dropping from heaven upon the place beneath. The place beneath here refers to the earth. Okay, it's twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. Now he says that this quality of mercy is blessed 2 times. How is it blessed 2 times? Is that it is actually a quality of mercy which is blessed 2 times in a way when a person who is giving mercy towards anyone or rendering mercy, he is also being blessed by God by the quality that he is able to be merciful towards others. So that is what he says is being blessed by the one who is actually being merciful towards one. Are you understanding? On the other hand, the one who is actually getting mercy is also blessed because he is also getting mercy because of the blessings of God only. So in a way, it is actually a kind of a quality which is blessed 2 times. That's why it's written here that it blesseth him that gives and him that takes. That means the one who gives mercy is also blessed by God, and the one who takes mercy or gets mercy is also blessed by God. It is mightiest in the mightiest, and it is the most powerful quality in the most powerful person. It becomes the throne monarch better than his crown. Now he also says that it makes the throne monarch. The throne monarch means the one or the king who is sitting on his throne. Now there is a comparison done over here of a merciful person, and said over here that this quality of mercy is somewhat better than even the crown which he is wearing. Somewhat better than even the crown which he is wearing means, when we regard about the crown of the king, or you can say a ruler, we always know that is the crown which defines him, that he is actually the king of that particular kingdom or state. But if you talk about this quality of mercy, it has been said over here that this quality of mercy, if isn't present in the heart of a person who is sitting on a throne, then this quality of mercy makes him somewhat far better as compared to even the crown that he is wearing on his head. Further, it is written here, his sceptre shows the force of temporal powers, the attribute to awe and majesty. Now you talk about the sceptre here refers to, it actually symbolizes the earthly power of a person. Now, when you talk about the scepter, it actually refers to a rod-like kind of a thing, or a stick, or a trident, which usually rulers, even a sword, which usually rulers carry with them. Okay, why do they carry with them? Is just because they want to present themselves that I am the ruler. So they carry that trident or sword with them, which actually defines their power, that this person is holding this particular ruler, or this particular person is holding this rod or stick or trident or sword, just because he is the king. And no normal human being can hold those things like that, like the king is holding. So that's what is being said, is that his scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty. That means when you look at the king, this person or the throned monarch sitting on a throne, the scepter which he is holding shows and reflects the power which he has over the people. The attribute to awe and majesty means, which actually is a reflection of power, and you can say the reflection of the command and the control that the person has on others. Then it's written here, wherein does sit the dread and fear of kings? Now he says that wherein does sit the dread and fear of kings, but mercy is above the sceptred sway. Now if you talk about the minds of the people might be really scared of the kings because of the scepter only that they are holding. We all know that if that person is actually the king, he is only the one who can carry a scepter in his hand of a king like. So therefore he says, wherein does sit the dread and fear of king, but mercy is above the scepter. So that means mercy, if you talk about, is not something which is affected by the sway, or you can say effect of this scepter. He is meaning to say over here, she is meaning to say over here, that if you talk about a person, if he is having that sense of mercy in his heart, then this mercy is always away from the effect of that scepter. It is enthroned in the hearts of king. Then she also says that this quality of mercy is enthroned, is present in the hearts of the king, and it is an attribute to God himself, and it is something, a kind of an attribute which makes just a person just like somewhat similar to a god. So therefore it's written here, it's an attribute to God himself. An earthly power there does then showest like God when mercy seizes justice. That means an earthly power does showest like God, means he reflects and looks and just represents himself like God when mercy seizes justice. When mercy seizes justice means when he is giving justice along with senses of mercy. Now understand it in the sense, and that it understand it in this manner. Like when you talk about the kings, there is always a sense of fear in the hearts of the people. Why are the people scared of a king? They are scared of the king just because of the scepter which he is holding in his hand. Okay, because he is having that scepter which reflects his power, which reflects his you can say command over people and control over the people. But that too is actually a power which is actually a temporary one, not a permanent one. Okay, then it is written here, but mercy is above the scepter. So that means, but if you talk about mercy, it is something just far away from the sway, or you can say the effect of the scepter. And then she says that this quality of mercy is enthroned in the hearts of the king. It's something which is a quality which is present in the hearts of the king. It rules the hearts of the king, and it is a kind of attribute or a quality which makes an earthly power, here refers to which makes a king showest like God when mercy seizes justice. That means which makes a king just be a reflection of God when he gives justice along with mercy. That is why it's written here that it is an attribute to God himself. That means it actually makes the person godlike. Okay. Therefore, Jew, she talks to Shylock saying that.
Please give me permission to record.
Then he says that therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea. Now he says that therefore, Jew, though your request is justice, though justice be thy plea, consider this. That means consider this means what? Consider this case. Whose case? The case of Antonio. So he says that consider this case, that in the course of justice none of us should see salvation, because in the course of justice none of us are going to get salvation. Salvation means none of us are going to get that salvation. Of course we all know that it's actually something we call as moksha. So he says none of us are going to get salvation. We do pray for mercy, and that same prayer does teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. Now he tells over here, she says this to Shylock, that when we pray to God also, we all pray to God. Why? What for we pray to God? We pray to God just because we want that God should be merciful towards us. So she says over here, we all pray for mercy. For mercy means that God should always shower His blessings on us. Therefore, he says, where we do pray for mercy, and that same prayer does teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. That same prayer actually explains us all how to be merciful towards others. Render the deeds of mercy means how to be merciful towards others. I have spoke thus much enough to mitigate the justice of thy plea. Now she says that I have spoken much more than required. To mitigate here refers to reduce the effect of the request which you are making. And the request that Shylock was making was of justice. So in a way she was trying to make sure that the request which Shylock was making, that request should actually be in a way discarded. Discarded does not mean without the willingness of Shylock, but of course with the willingness of Shylock, when he is affected with the sense of mercy in his heart. Okay, so therefore she says, I spoke thus much enough to mitigate the justice of thy plea, which if thou follow. Now she also says that, but still if you follow that same request, which request? Of justice. Okay, if you still follow that request of justice, this strict court of Venice needs give sentence against the merchant there. That means that then if you are strictly following the decision that you have made earlier, then this court of Venice will have to give sentence, or will have to give a statement against the merchant over here. Who's the merchant over here is? That is Antonio. Now Shylock says, my deeds upon my head, I crave the law, the penalty and the forfeit of my bond. Now what does he mean by saying is that when my deeds upon my head. Now what do these lines actually reflect about him? My deeds upon my head. These lines reflect about him that he is actually telling this very, very adamantly and rigidly that whatever I have done, I am going to be responsible for it. You are nobody to question me. You are nobody to be involved in it. You are no one who should be affected by those penalties. He is in a way meaning to say that I have my deeds upon my head. That means whatever I will do, I will bear the consequences. You are nobody to worry about me. I crave the law, I want the law, the penalty and the forfeiture of my bond. He says, I just want the law, the penalty and the forfeiture of my bond and nothing else. Portia says, is he not able to discharge the money? Now she questions that, is it so that he is not able to give you the money? Bassanio says, here it is, yes, I tender it for him in the court. Yes, twice the sum. Now he says, I am ready to provide it in the court for him 2 times the amount of money. Bassanio says, yes, here I tender it for him in the court. That means, yes, I tender means I deliver or give. For him means on behalf of him in the court, twice the amount of money. That is, he was ready to give him 6,000 ducats. If that is also not sufficient, he says, if that will also not suffice as sufficient, I will be bound to pay 10 times over. Now he says that if that is also not sufficient, then I am bound to pay. I am ready to pay 10 times above the amount of money. That means he is even ready to pay 3,000 ducats multiplied by 10. On the forfeit of my hands, my head, my heart. Now he also says that I am even ready to forfeit. Initially he says I am ready to pay double the amount of money. Then he says that if that is also not sufficient, then I am ready to pay it in 10 times. 10 times means 30,000 ducats. And then also he says that I am even ready to sacrifice my own body, that is my hands, my limbs, my head and heart, everything, for the sake of Bassanio, and then he adds saying that if that will not suffice, then he says that if that is also not sufficient, then he says it must appear that malice bears down the truth. That means then it appears that malice means hatred has beard down truth, means malice has won over, or hatred has won over truth. And I beseech you, now he says, I request you. Now this request he is making to the Duke and Portia as a lawyer in the disguise of Balthazar. So she says that, and I do beseech you, rest once the law to your authority. Now she says that I request you, please change the law once on your authority. That means you are authorized enough, you can change the law on your authority. To do a great right, do a little wrong. Now he says over here that to do a great right, do a little wrong. Now what is the great right over here is? The great right over here is saving the life of Antonio. And doing a little wrong over here refers to changing of the law. Basically, what is Bassanio requesting the Duke and Portia is that for saving the life of Antonio, please change the law for the sake of Antonio, so as to do a right thing, and the right thing was that is saving the life of Antonio, and curb this cruel devil of his will. And then curb means, and you can then stop and restrict this cruel devil of his will. His will means of what he wants. Portia says, okay, now Portia's speech. Now Portia says, it must not be, there is no power in Venice which can alter a decree established. Now she says that it must not be means it cannot happen, or such a thing can never ever happen. And there is no power in Venice, or there is no person in Venice who can alter a decree established. Alter a decree established means who can change a law which has already been established. It is not a very easy you can say process to change any particular law. It's not that easy. Therefore she says it cannot happen, and there's no power in Venice which can alter a decree. A decree means a law which has already been established or made. It will be recorded for a precedent, and many an error by the same example will rush into the state, and it cannot be. Now she says that if this will happen for the case of Antonio, that if we are changing the law, then it will be recorded for a precedent. That means then it will be like just recorded as an example. People who have really committed error, and many an error means people who have really committed errors, what will they do is, when they will look at this example, by the same example means by looking at the same example of Antonio, will come into the court and say that please change the law for my sake also. And it's very, very obvious, right? So therefore she says that this cannot be. This cannot be means this cannot at all happen. Shylock says, a Daniel come to judgment. Yes, a Daniel. O wise young judge, how I do honor thee. Now Shylock says, a Daniel come to judgment. Now Daniel here refers to a Jewish character. He was actually a Jewish character who was very well known for his wisdom and judgment. Okay, he was a character who was very well known for a very just person, a very wise person, and moreover for his right judgments. He never ever gave any wrong kind of judgment. So as he was a Jew, so therefore it was because he was a Jew, therefore he was referred by Shylock, because Shylock himself was a Jew only. So Shylock gives this adjective, or calls Portia with this adjective, referring her as a Daniel. He says, a Daniel come to judgment. Yes, a Daniel. Now he says that it is actually a Daniel who has come for judgment. Yes, you are actually a Daniel. O wise young judge, how I do honor thee. Now he is saying that, O wise young judge, how do I honor you? Now when and on, as and on, you will find Portia was initially starting to talk about things in favor of Shylock. You will find Shylock referring Portia with different adjectives, of course positive ones. Okay, so you might need to learn those adjectives also. Portia says, I pray you let me look upon the bond. Now Portia says, just let me have a look at the bond. Shylock says, here it is, most reverend doctor. Again reverend, so he says most respectful doctor. Here it is. And then Portia says, Shylock, there's thrice thy money offered you. Now she is just talking to Shylock, saying that you have been offered 3 times the value of money. Shylock says, an oath, I have an oath in heaven. Now he says that I have taken an oath, I am not going to change my decision. He says, I have taken an oath. Where has he taken the oath? He has actually gone to the synagogue, taken an oath in heaven. And therefore he says, shall I lay perjury upon my soul? No, not for Venice. Now he says that shall I lay perjury? Perjury here refers to, that is, do you want me to commit the sin of breaking an oath which I have taken in the synagogue? And what was the oath that he has taken is, he has taken the oath that he is just and just going to take the pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So he says, no, not for Venice. That means, no, I'm not going to do so for the sake of a city like Venice. Portia says, why this bond is forfeit? Then Portia says that then this bond is absolutely forfeit. That means it has absolutely all connections with the things which are mentioned in the bond, and there is absolute correct right of Shylock that he must demand for the pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Portia says, this bond is forfeit, and lawfully by this the Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be by him cut off nearest the merchant's heart. Now Portia says, then why this bond is absolutely forfeited, and lawfully by law also it is written here, the Jew can claim 1 pound of flesh to be cut by him cut off nearest the merchant's heart. Be merciful, take thrice thy money and bid me to the bond. Now this is the last time Portia requests Shylock to be merciful towards Antonio. Says that please be merciful, take thrice thy money, bid me to the bond, and just let me tear off the bond. Shylock, of course, showing his adamancy, was not ready to agree to or relent in the least. So he says, when it is paid according to the tenure. That means he says, I'll agree to what you are saying, but I will only and only agree when it is paid according to the tenure, means the terms that are mentioned in the bond. It does appears you are a worthy judge, you know the law, your exposition has been most sound. Now he says it appears from your performance over here in the court, or moreover your reflection over here in the court, that you are actually a worthy judge, you are actually a very learned judge, and you know the law. You know the law means you have a knowledge of law also, and your exposition means, and your understanding of the case has also been very sound. I charge you by the law. And then he says, I charge you by the law means I actually request you by law, whereof you are a well-deserving pillar. That means you are actually a very well-deserving support of this case. Well-deserving pillar means you actually play a very important role now in this case. Proceed to judgment. Please proceed to give the judgment. By my soul I swear, there is no power in the tongue of a man to alter me. I stay here on my bond. I say that by my soul I swear that there is no power in the tongue of a man. There is no particular person in this world who has got a way of speaking in the tongue of a man to alter me, who has got a way of speaking that he or she can change me. I stay here on my bond, and I'm not going to stay back over here on my bond only. I'm not going to change things. Antonio says, most heartily I do beseech the court to give the judgment. Now Antonio is very well knowing that there is a sense of cruelty in the heart of Shylock. So Shylock is not at all going to change his decisions. Plus he is also knowing that he is definitely going to die. Therefore he says that there is no point in talking to Shylock or requesting to Shylock for more number of times. Therefore he says, most heartily I request the court to give the judgment. Portia says, why then thus it is, you must prepare your bosom for his knife. Now she said that, okay, then it's very fine, you must prepare your heart or your chest for his knife. That means he is going to cut your chest with the help of his knife. Shylock again becoming very happy and becomes very jubilant hearing this, says, O noble judge, O excellent young man. Portia says, for the intent and purpose of the law has full relation to the penalty which here appeareth due upon the bond. Now he says that if I talk about the intent and purpose of the law, that means if I talk about the terms and conditions mentioned in the bond, and according to the law it has got full relation to the penalty that has been asked by Shylock, and which still appeareth due upon the bond, which still appears that it is still due, it hasn't been paid. according to the bond. Shylock says, it's very true, O wise and upright judge. How much elder are you than your looks? Now he says it's really very, very true. And then he says, oh wise, you such a wise and such an upright judge you are. How much older are you than your looks? Then he questions that how much older are you than your looks? Portia says, therefore lay bare your bosom. Now Portia says that, okay, then uncover your chest so that he can cut out the pound of flesh. Shylock says, yes, his breast. Now he says, yes, his chest. He was so, this eye, his breast actually reflects the sense of happiness present in the heart of Shylock, that he was so very happy to cut that pound of flesh. So therefore he says, yes, I want his chest. So says the bond. Now he says, as it is mentioned in the bond, does it not, noble judge, nearest his heart? Those are the very words. Now he says that, is it so not mentioned in the bond, noble judge? Now noble judge is again referred to Portia as a lawyer. So he says that, is it so not mentioned in the bond, noble judge, nearest his heart? And those are the only words mentioned. Portia says, it is so, are the balance here to weigh the flesh. Now he says that, have you got balances over here to weigh the flesh? Shylock says, I have them ready. Now again, this I have them ready means he was so very prepared with everything that he has even brought those balances with him to balance the pound of flesh. So you can say that it also reflects the cruelty and the enmity of Shylock towards Antonio, that he was so very eager to kill him. Portia says, have by some surgeon Shylock on your charge to stop his wounds lest he do bleed to death. Now Portia says that, okay Shylock, whatever it is, but on your expenses, Shylock, I feel that you must hire a surgeon so that when you are cutting the pound of flesh, he must not bleed to such an extent that he bleeds to such an extent that he dies. That lest he do bleed to death means if he will lose a lot of blood, he will definitely die. Shylock, now this again shows his cruelty. See, Shylock says, is it so nominated in the bond? That means, is it so mentioned in the bond? Is it so something of that sort mentioned in the bond? Portia says, it is not so expressed, but what of that? It were good you do so much for charity. Now Portia says that it is not so expressed in the bond, but at least you can do that much for a sense of charity. It is not going to be a big deal. You can do it as a sense of act, or you can do it as an act of kindness also. Shylock says, I cannot find it. It is not in the bond. Now Shylock says, I cannot find it because it is not mentioned in the bond. Portia says, come merchant, have you anything to say? Now Portia says that, come on merchant, have you got anything to say?